Hello, everyone. I am Lisa Utrunki here with Lepesh Media. We are approaching a year of when COVID restrictions were first put in place. So much has changed in our everyday lives. COVID has affected everyone globally. Each individual will have their own effects and experiences. With all of this, I wanted to give a voice to our youth here in Lepesh. These brave individuals chose to talk about how this pandemic has affected them. As a community, we've done exceptionally well in supporting each other through these uncertain times. Have a listen here to gain the perspective of some of the youth of Lepesh.
I miss my friends so much. I'm naturally a very social person. So being so isolated and like kept in quarantine has been astronomically difficult for me.
I think my biggest struggle with all of this has definitely just been the social life not being as prominent and just not being able to see friends and do all the stuff that a normal high schooler would do. The isolation has kind of been it's been weird. I know the very first quarantine when I saw my friends for the first time was a little weird just because I hadn't seen anyone in 3 months. It was strange to get back into it. Um, but and also the whole mask thing started to it was hard to get used to and not being able to hug anyone or giving anyone a handshake or anything like that.
Well, I think I've gotten way more shy over the pandemic because I don't really talk to many people much anymore.
I'm really paranoid about the spread of the virus. I haven't been struggling as much with having to stay home or being online so much or anything like that because I'm wired in a way that works for me. The spread of the virus freaks me out, and I know that I can sometimes be irrational about it and not take the logic into consideration, but that's definitely been the hardest thing for me.
I would say I feel a lot more anxious. I was an anxious person before quarantine. So coming into it, things in the beginning, it was quite scary. I didn't quite know how to deal with it. But I think I've developed some like little coping mechanisms and things that help me calm down um, that I wouldn't normally have done previous.
I've had a lot of COVID blues moments throughout the almost 1 year span of the pandemic. There's definitely been a lot of times where it's felt like hopeless or just like that sense of like, I just want to see my friends. I just want to like hug them. It's like so simple of a thing, but it's just like a reality that can't happen right now.
My kind of generation, seeing as we're all teenagers and this is like a time where we're supposed to be discovering ourselves and going out and having fun, but instead we're pretty much inside a lot of the time.
Since COVID has started, I haven't really been socializing much. I still love my best friend so much, but we just can't connect as well when we can't have sleepovers and actually hug and see like each other physically. And, that's really hard for me.
It definitely got you to like put into perspective like what really mattered to you and who really mattered to you most.
Some of the friends that I've had, they're not the best like at texting people or staying in contact, but we were good friends when we were in person because we were always there and able to talk to each other. So those friendships have kind of dwindled away and I don't really talk to them anymore just because that like internet connection was never there before. But some of the friends that I would text all the time and spend time with in person as well, I'm a lot closer to them now.
The social aspect of my life was definitely reevaluated. I definitely reconsidered my friendships and my relationships with my family too, a lot more, or in greater depth.
I mean, these are really strange times, and I'm just trying to like get over that social anxiety bit by having the I don't care kind of mentality.
So COVID has been a lot of struggles, a lot of ups and downs, but I think the biggest struggle or hurdle for me to overcome was definitely like getting used to my school life and just like the different expectations and changes that have come with it.
The biggest change in my life personally during the pandemic has probably been school. Trying to keep up with all the work that school is giving me, as well as like staying motivated to do all the schoolwork because I have to sit for so long. It's definitely a very big change for me.
It's definitely a big change when you're just kind of, your classes are all Zoom meetings or just like virtual little projects that you do.
It's definitely easier to like fall into like a depressive rhythm where you kind of just slack off and procrastinate a lot.
During these times, I've definitely found it difficult to stay motivated.
With the online too, it's kind of not taken as seriously. Like most people, I think a lot of people don't pay attention in online classes, and a lot of people find it very hard to learn in these online classes.
School is much harder because you can't actually see the teacher's face or your friends' faces. It's very frustrating sometimes.
Day online, 1 day offline thing does work very well. Not only does it mean less travel back and forth or less pollution, but it also, wake up, you don't have to wake up as late, you can have more sleep. So I think that's good. That's the thing that a lot of people struggle with, is having to get up really early for school and catching a bus.
When the pandemic first hit, I was in my graduating year of grade 11 at my high school. So a lot of those like rites of passage that you get at the end of your high school career, like your graduation and your prom, and I was the lead in our musical that we were doing. I think what I grappled with a lot was like not having that kind of closure, and like that kind of like end of everything, because like obviously school is like a huge part of your life, and just having it kind of cut short like that without just feeling like everything is just going to wrap up nicely is like hard to deal with.
My screen time has definitely gotten like way worse, just because, for a while there, that was the only way you could talk to friends.
My screen time is now between 12 and 14 hours a day. From the minute I wake up until sometimes 2 a.m, I'm doing schoolwork.
My screen time has absolutely increased so much. There's a lot of reasons for this, actually. Like the online school is only a part of it.
Whenever I'm at school, I get distracted. It's like YouTube, this thing called Webtoon, where there's comics. My screen time has gone up by a lot.
But because of the pandemic, it means there's that much more time at home, that much less excuse to get out of the house, or for my mom to drag me out of the house, in all honesty.
I feel like it's so easy for us to just like channel ourselves into like these little phones or whatever for like hours and hours on end.
Probably 2 or 3 hours a night during quarantine, I was playing video games, and then also on top of online school all day sitting around the laptop. It's definitely gotten a lot worse.
That isolation made me kind of like look inwards and look into myself and kind of just like reassess like where I'm at. It definitely had its pros, just in that sense, in the sense that like I got some growth from it still.
I've definitely been using art as an outlet for sure. Fan art of shows, fan art of books, art for other people, just so much art.
I definitely went to songwriting as like an outlet of just like letting out my sadness and my frustrations and my questions.
I read and draw a lot, so I've been doing that.
I've been doing a lot of skiing and doing a lot of just spending time with my family. I think the family life has definitely increased a lot. Like we've been spending a lot more time together simply because we're not, at work or at school all the time. So the times that we would normally be at school, we're together, and if it's watching TV shows or playing board games or just making supper, stuff like that, is definitely increased a lot because we're all home.
Our connections have definitely gotten stronger.
When COVID ends, I just want to run down the street and just start hugging random people and be like, COVID is over, and just like be running down the street.
Also, people need hugs. Like, it's scientifically proven they calm people down when you get hugs that last over a minute. Hug people tightly for longer than a minute to make stress go away.
Like in my head, when COVID is over, literally like one of those scenes where everything is slow motion and there's like a buttery glow filter over everything, and there's just this huge field with like basically two armies of people, and just like run towards each other in slow motion, and then just the two armies collide with a bunch of hugs, and just there's just this inspirational music everywhere.
If we just keep doing what we're doing and we just stay safe, and we just kind of appreciate what we have now and appreciate the fact that we'll have more later, then we can just keep on keeping on. I don't know.
I'm definitely looking forward to when COVID's over. I'm going to be so excited. Just like parties, just get-togethers with friends, typical high school stuff, just being able to socialize even at school more, doing activities like just activities that you weren't allowed to do. The gyms got closed down, and restaurants and movie theaters and all these things got closed down. It's going to be a lot more exciting, a lot more fun when COVID's over and we can do all these things together.
What I'm looking forward to is seeing friends and like family on the East Coast, which I call my home. So like basically going home to family and seeing everybody and trying the seafood.
We took so much for granted beforehand. At least I did. I definitely took a lot of things for granted. Having family gatherings and Christmas dinners together, like, it's just like, I don't know, there's so much to miss. But there's so much to be appreciative and to gain from these times now.
Coming out of COVID, I would like to live my life again the way that I previously was. I want to participate in as many things as possible. I want to go to parties. I want to meet new people. I want to make friends. I want to do everything